right. So as I get started, how many of you, raise your hand, if you would like to know the one surefire secret to fundraising? Anybody want to know? I would too, so if you figure it out, let me know. You can give this talk next year. So I'm going to talk a little bit about 5 key things that I have learned being through this, and I'm also going to tell 2 of my most embarrassing VC stories, so you'll enjoy that. So I was the co-founder of Backupify. We raised $22 million from first round capital, Avalon, General Catalyst, and then Symantec led our Series C round, publicly traded company. My new company, Talla, has raised $4.5 million. We'll shortly be raising more. And I've also been a part of 23 companies as an angel, so I've seen them raise money as well. So that's my experience watching this stuff. Now, the first thing that you have to learn, and if you take nothing else from this presentation, remember this, it's all about the story and how well it ties together. A lot of times when you go into pitch VCs, right, you tell all the facts, you tell all about your technology, but it doesn't tie together into an interesting story. I can tell you how I flubbed this the very first time in my very first company. I went to pitch first round capital, and they loved it. They loved everything about Backupify and the idea. I get to the very end. This was late 2009, so the world was different. We were trying to raise $500,000 on a 1.5 pre, which would be unheard of these days. And Josh Koppelman said, okay, Rob, you're going to have a $2 million post-money valuation. If somebody came to you in a year and offered to buy the company, what number would make you say, yes, I'll sell? Well, I know nothing about venture capital, so I'm sitting there and thinking, what would be a good return? So actually, I hit the table, because I want to sound strong. And I hit the table, and I said, $6 million, Josh. And Josh looks disgusted. And Josh says, Rob, do you know how venture capital works? So gave me a little lesson in that. But my story didn't tie together at the end, right? Why I wanted to build this company, what I wanted to do. So make sure that every part of your story fits together. Your team, your market opportunity, why you're raising the amount you're raising. Spend the time to craft a good story. Second point, there are no easy metrics. The number one question I get asked about fundraising is, what do I need to raise a Series A? You know what you need? You need somebody to give you a Series A term sheet. It's a little bit like playing basketball. What do you need to win the game? You need to score more points than the other team. Everybody wants to know. Seed stage people always ask, oh, if we get to 100K MRR, do we get a Series A? Maybe. How many of you have ever heard of a horse named Sham? How many of you have ever heard of a horse named Secretariat? Secretariat won the 1973 Kentucky Derby and was the first horse ever to run it in under 2 minutes. The second horse ran the same year, and it was Sham. Any other year, Sham would have been probably a Triple Crown winner. The fact that Sham was in the same year as Secretariat meant you've never heard of Sham. So there are no easy metrics. Do everything that you can, because raising money is always hard. Lesson number 3, when I tell the story, people that know this VC, if you've ever worked with them, you'll know who I'm talking about. So my worst VC experience, I went into a very well-known firm. I get halfway through my pitch, and this guy leans up on the table and he says, Rob, not only do I not like your idea, I don't like your personality. Gets up, walks out of the room. Now, I could have left a nasty note. I could have said lots of bad things about them. But at the end of the day, VC is a small community. So you want to be nice. You want to play fair. You want to remember that their jobs are difficult. Sometimes they have bad days for other reasons that you don't know about. So don't use these services where people say bad things about VCs. It's not worth it. Lesson number 4, practice. This presentation was something that I put together last minute because I'm an entrepreneur and didn't practice because I normally don't have time. I would not recommend you do that for your fundraising pitches. These are very, very important, and the way that you come across will have a significant impact in whether or not you get funding. Practice, 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 practice with your team, practice with your existing investors. I know it's boring. I know it sucks. It's worth the time, and it's one of the best things that you can do. And finally, how many of you know the, yeah, somebody said it, myth of Sisyphus, right? So Sisyphus upset the gods and was sentenced to push a rock up a hill forever and ever, and the rock kept rolling back down, pushed it back up, rolled back down. This is what fundraising often feels like. And I know you read in TechCrunch that this or that company raised, great valuation, it happened quick. That is incredibly rare. It is almost always hard for everybody, no matter what you've been through or how your company is performing. So the real secret is to stick with it, no matter what. Push the rock up the hill, time and time again. You'll eventually get funding. That's my fifth and final slide. And so if you have questions, this is how you can reach me. Happy to give advice. And if you have a company, I'd love to look at it as an angel investor as well. Thank you.